New list of the most overpaid players of all time. Number 3, Klay Thompson. Only better than Gordon Hayward and John Wall. Oh, but Klay wants to be number 1 on that list. Woj reported, Klay has an expectation that he would be rewarded with a max level contract extension. Maybe the max from 1991. Am I right? But the Warriors owner was just asked about this, and it's not pretty. So does that mean that Klay will be on another team soon, or will he come to his senses and take a pay cut? You know, everyone thinks of Klay as like this humble dude who just is on his boat with his dog. Of course he'll take a pay cut, he's chill. But no, when Klay came back from injury, he feels like a different person. He now has a chip on his shoulder we have never seen. Klay started last season chucking shots and hurting the team. 35% from the field his first 6 games. The team literally had an intervention to say stop doing this. Then he finally settled down. It's like Klay is trying to prove that he is the same player as before, but he's not. Then Devin Booker talked trash to Klay, telling him he's not great anymore. So Klay threw his 4 rings into Booker's face. That is not Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, but that's what an insecure person does, not the Klay Thompson that we know. So will this new Klay Thompson take a pay cut? I'm not so sure. And this goes all the way back to the NBA Top 75 team. Klay was left off that list despite being key to an all-time dynasty. He said, woke up this AM, still pissed about this stupid ass list. I can't wait to hoop again, sick of the disrespect. Winning isn't everything to some people like it is to me, I guess, which is a great point. The reason Klay is number 3 on the most overpaid list is weird. The author says, even in 2015-16, arguably his best season ever, part of 73-9 Warriors squad, Thompson was barely a top 50 player according to the analytics. The analytics! I'm sorry, but that is proof that stats are BS half the time. You can make them say whatever you want. Of course Klay Thompson was a top 50 NBA player. They don't win 3 rings in 4 years without him. Definitely don't win that 4th ring after the injuries. But who is Klay Thompson now when he's about to get paid? Is he still top 50? Well, after that rough start to start last year, he bounced back, shooting 43% from deep in November, including 41 points against the Rockets. Then, when Steph got injured, Klay stepped up, averaged 23 points a night, 54 on New Year's Day against the Hawks. But Klay's real value is in the playoffs. What that overpaid list doesn't realize is his impact on winning chips. So Klay averaged 21 points the first 6 games against the Kings, but in game 7, he collapsed. Almost bricked them out of the playoffs, shooting 21%. Steph Curry bailed him out with 50 points. But okay, that's just one game 7. Against the Lakers, Klay was amazing games 1 and 2. 30 points to tie the series, but the last 4 games were a disaster. 11 points a night on 25% shooting. This version of Klay is inconsistent, who does not deserve a max contract. He wants to get paid for who he used to be, but the Warriors already did that. In the 2019 finals, Klay went down holding his knee with a torn ACL. That combined with KD's injury, and the Raptors won the chip. But Klay was up for a new contract, so despite the injury, he got a max deal, knowing he'd be out a full year. Then he tore his Achilles the next season, so they paid Klay $68 million for 0 games. I'm sorry, but take the pay cut, Klay. They already took care of you. So Klay will be a free agent next offseason, and he can sign with any other team. But the owner, Joe Lacob, said, we'll see if we can put something together that allows Klay to be here for a long time, which we clearly would like him to be. And I think there is no way he leaves the Warriors. Klay's agent leaked to Woj that he expects a max contract. That's just starting negotiation. He'll start there at max, but then work his way down to something more reasonable. That's exactly, if you remember, what happened with Draymond. There were rumors he expected a max contract, then they landed at a lesser number. If Klay does feel disrespected by a pay cut, that won't last for long. Yes, new Klay might have a chip on his shoulder, but underneath, he's still the same old person. Listen to what he said about that trash talk to Devin Booker.
Stuff doesn't age well. That didn't age well for me. Like, I don't need to be flexing 4 rings, bro. Like, everybody know that. That's on Wikipedia. Like, my game wasn't where it was at, and we all get insecure at times. I'm not man enough to admit that. I'm man enough to admit that we all have our moments of weakness. So I'm not really proud of that one. Because I see Devin Booker, and I should be like, man, I should be proud of this young man. Like, the work he's put in, he survived a tough regime in Phoenix where everyone's getting traded. He's playing for a new coach every year, but now he's a franchise player because he just kept working. So I admire the guys who have work ethic like that, you know?
That is the Klay that we all love. But you know the biggest reason he'll take a pay cut to stay? He could never leave Steph Curry. When Klay was at his lowest moment, Steph was there. When Klay describes what his teammates meant to him during his injury, it gets emotional.
It's like I would cry like a baby on the bench. Like, you know, like that was hard for me when I had to walk, when, you know, our guys are going through the season. That's why I'm so grateful for Andre, Steph, and Draymond, because I'm sitting there watching, like, and I'm hearing the crowd. I'm just like, I can't believe this happened to me again. And I couldn't shake that from my head. And Steph came over and was like, you're gonna play so much basketball after this. I couldn't see that at the time. I just kept saying, like, my career wasn't supposed to go like this. This is bullshit. This isn't fair. I was feeling sorry for myself, so I'm grateful for those guys. They didn't have to do that, and they showed me a lot of love that day.
Now imagine Klay suddenly becoming cold-hearted over money? No, as long as the contract isn't actually insulting, he will remain a Warrior. But what happens next? We all know that Golden State is chasing ring number 5. It's a dominant storyline next year. Last season, they struggled so bad, it ended in a 6th seed, looking nothing like a contender. But something happened this offseason that could change that. After they lock in Klay, the big 3 of Steph, Klay, and Draymond will be Warriors for life. But a new dub is already near the end. Chris Paul. Trading 24-year-old Jordan Poole for 38-year-old CP3 is a huge sign they are all in for this year. They are no longer planning for the future. They will maximize Steph Curry's prime. Against the Kings, Steph became just the 3rd player over 35 years old to average 30 in a playoff series. Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, and Steph Curry. He is still an MVP candidate, so they will have a chance. The problem is not having a legit number 2. Last year, with defenses keyed on Steph, someone else needed to rise up. But against the Lakers, Klay, Jordan Poole, and Wiggins failed. So does Chris Paul fix that? No, but he does add another playmaker to worry about so that Steph can affect the game even more. We'll see if they can have a better regular season with good defense to get a higher seed, but I fully expect all this Klay drama to be over soon. But the wild card would be trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, again, threatened to leave the Bucks if they don't compete for a championship. So I looked at which teams can realistically get him. Check it out.